Animal testing is when experimentation is used on animals. It is used to assess the safety and effectiveness of items, which can be items from medication to cosmetic, as well as understanding how the human body works. Whilst there are some supporters for it, because it is a necessary practice, there are those against animal testing, because they believe it involves the torture and suffering of animals.
Animal testing is a growing industry. More and more companies emerged throughout the mid to late 19th century. The number of animals used in tests increased along with the number of tests themselves. However, despite the industry growing, there have been many people against animal testing and still are. Animal testing is a controversial subject. Those for it say that animal testing will say that experimentation uses animals to benefit humans. However, those against it would reply that animal testing creates pain and suffering. This debate has carried on for many years and is still strongly debated about. I am for animal testing because animal testing is acceptable if the suffering is minimized in all experiments and human benefits are gained which cannot be obtained by other methods.
I am against animal testing because experimenting on animals is never acceptable because it causes suffering to animals. The benefits to human beings are not proven, and any benefits to human beings that animal testing does provide could be produced in other ways.
Animal testing is a way for testing new drugs and for safety tests. If animal testing is banned, then it would mean an end for testing new drugs or using human beings for safety tests. Would you prefer humans being used for drug testing instead of animals?
No, of course not. However, there could be more alternative methods other than experimenting animals, for example, using less invasive techniques, better medical care, better living conditions, experimenting on cell cultures instead of the whole animals, using computer models and using studies of the disease, an origin and spread.
Experimenters do not wish to cause harm and suffering to animals, but sometimes it is an unavoidable consequence, and it is something we learn from. We cannot predict the effect of the drugs used on animals, so most times it is better to test on animals so it does not have the same effects on a human.
Yes, it may give benefits to humans, but it does not make it morally correct. If an experiment violates the right of an animal, then it is morally wrong because it is wrong to violate rights.
We know this, however, the harm the experiment will do to animals is weighed against the harm done to humans by not doing the experiment. If the experimenter will carry out actions that harm the animals involved, or the experiment does not take place, the experimenter will not do anything. This may cause harm to human beings because they won't benefit from a cure for their disease because the cure won't be developed. It is morally worse for the experimenter to harm the animals by experimenting on them than it is to harm some human beings by not doing an experiment that might find a cure for their disease.
So, it's virtually impossible to assign a moral value to a being. It's virtually impossible to assign a value to the harm done to each individual. The harm that will be done by the experiment is known beforehand, but the benefit is unknown, and the harm done by the experiment is caused by an action, while the harm resulting from not doing it is caused by an omission. On the other hand, I still strongly disagree with it.
I guess this concludes our little debate. Until next time, goodbye.
I guess so. You have given me a lot to think about. Goodbye.